Today, we're going to look at keywords and their opportunity of what might be something that is efficient and impactful for your business, and also what other keywords you might want to use and how you are doing versus competitors on the search engine results page and what else might be on that page. So the tool we're going to use is called MOZ. So a Seattle-based startup from Rand Fishkin originally. There's a interesting book about that called Lost and Founder, about what went on behind the scenes as they sort of figured out things as they went. And the power of using these third-party tools is really that outsider perspective can uncover what's happening in the results from the actual happenings of what shows up or doesn't show up, and then kind of backtracks through the logic to figure it out. So the platforms and the ad networks are not necessarily going to tell you everything you need to know. They're going to be very educational in how you purchase and how you analyze the metrics that they give you, and they're not going to tell you what the secret sauce is. So it's really helpful sometimes to use these third-party tools, Moz being one of them, to explore the keywords and everything like that. So what we're going to do is sign up for an account. So you can go ahead and go to Moz and set that up. We're just going to do a free account. See, I haven't even started the MOZ Pro at all. I'm just on a free account. They will give you a number of queries for the next few weeks. So I'm already half used up, but I've got those set up and that'll be good enough for this. So go ahead, sign up there, pause the video, and come back. All right, so for this analysis, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a few companies. So if you don't know already, I went to grad school in Canada, in Toronto, at the Rotman School of Business. I went to a talk actually by the founder of Roots. Roots is pretty amazing. They have the comfiest possible sweatpants and sweaters and a lot of that sort of Canadian fashion. And they are really cool. So I want to really explore what this time of year I might want to bid on as this company and what my competitors are doing. And I'm in that mode, like the fall, autumn, shifting to winter sort of, I want to wear a sweater mood. And so I am going to look at some of the competitors. So Frank and Oak in Quebec, it actually has some really cool fashion as well. They sell to the US, a great little e-commerce site that has really expanded over the last few years. They have a lot of cool Canadian fashion as well. And it's feeling very autumny already. So maybe I'm onto something. So Simon's is also a department store, pretty popular in the Quebec area as well. And that is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for something pretty cozy. So that Nordic style sweater, the woven term for some of these is jacquard. I don't know if I've got that pronunciation right, but that is what I'm going for. So, or maybe something else. That looks pretty cool as well. But I'm going to go with jacquard. So that's kind of a interesting specific search term. And we can go into MOZ. And there are a couple options here that we will check out. There's Explore by Site and there's Explore by Keyword. So we're going to go to Explore by Keyword. I was looking up ocean spray earlier, a little TikTok video exploration. But I want to look for jacquard. So that's in keyword suggestions is the first area I'm going to go to. We're going to go to another one next, but we're going to explore by keyword and click analyze, and it's going to pull that down here. And as you can see, there's a lot of suggestions and they have multiple pages of this. So we have that list and we're going to go to export CSV and bring that in here. And I know Moz likes to combine two different tables. It's going to combine what they were looking at the top level with this nice list here onto that one file. So I'm going to click that in Excel before I bring it in somewhere else like Tableau, or even if I was going to edit it in Excel, I'd split it out into different tabs. But we have this top thing. So if you do want to have this total results and minimum and maximum and export dates, you can highlight this, open a new Excel file, paste it in, and then save that as, I'm going to save that as jacquard metrics MOZ. So cool. So that one is good to go. And instead here, I'm going to delete those rows. My microphone's in the way. And we should be good to go. So this is much cleaner. You can see the monthly volumes, the minimum, and the relevancy score, as well as the keywords. So we're going to save that, and I'm going to add clean at the end of the title, so I know which one was the raw data and which one was cleaned. And so what I want to do in Tableau, I was already working on some stuff before. I'm going to click a new Tableau file. But as that loads, so I was going through those keywords, and you'll notice, some might be related to my target customer, some more of a business to business customer. So the Jacquard loom, for example, would not be very useful to bid on for a consumer, but it'd be super useful if you were trying to advertise to a factory that was in the market for that loom, so that way they could provide these products to people as well. So finding which ones are the relevant keywords are super important. And right, so now we have a Tableau file open. Remember, that was a CSV file, not an Excel, so we need to go to more and open that up. So I did that clean version. So here we go, and here's the data. So it pulled in pretty well. If you did not get column titles and it says like F1, F2, F3, F4, double click those and name it the column title you would like to name. Otherwise, it looks fairly good. We do notice that these are numbers, and that came in as a number. These came in as text strings, and that is no good. So we will fix that when we get here. So now on our sheet, notice that max monthly volume. We're going to change that to a number. Change that. You could highlight multiple and do the same thing. But I'm going to do that as well. And yeah, you can choose decimal or whole. Those should be whole, but either way, cool. And we also need to convert that to a measure, so it's down here. So now you see it's a number sign instead of the ABC, and now we have measures. So really, these are the measures, and the dimension was the keyword, so it definitely should be set up like that. Otherwise, when you bring it into a graph, it might not show up in the way you would expect. It's not going to sum it up the way we would like. I could show an example of that where it's still set up in the incorrect way. You're going to struggle with oh, the numbers are on the left and it's trying to bring the text here, and you want to bring the minimum in, but it's not flipping it to be by the keyword in the way you would like. It just doesn't make sense. Those are actually measures, and they need to be treated that way. So you can do this and bring in the keyword and bring in the max monthly volume. Maybe flip that because that's kind of a hard way to see it. Yeah. All right, so you don't quite see anything yet. We have a lot of keywords, and oh, you do see a few bars there scattered in between. That means we need to sort. So I'm going to try to sort it that way, see what happens. Okay, so before you might have just clicked sort ascending or descending. We actually want to be a little bit more precise, because what is it sorting by? It was just going by the order that it's in the data. So that's not very helpful for us. First of all, descending is what I want, because I want the one that's the most. But now it's doing that by alphabetical. So yellow would be lower than the other ones in the alphabet. But what I actually want to do is do by field. So the keyword, though, is what I'm searching on. So I wouldn't sort it by the number. I'm sorting it by the keyword, but by the field that is the max monthly volume. And then sum is fine. And descending large to small. So there we go. So now embroidery looks like the max monthly volume is the highest, but that probably covers things that don't necessarily fit what I'm looking for. That could be a lot of things. That could be making a cool jacket with some embroidery on it for your campus club or whatever it is. But cool. So let's do this. Keyword max monthly volume, just so we have a title in there. And cool. So we've done this before too, but I think what I want to do to get rid of this long list of none, you can do that in a few ways. But what I want to do is add a filter. So I'm going to drop the keyword filter there. I'm going to say condition by field, the max monthly volume. So you can do this in many different ways. I'm going to say that is greater than, let's say, 100. Great. So that is one way to filter it. You can also do some other ways as well. So that top, so of that max monthly volume, what is the top 20 or the top 25, whatever you want to do, you can change that. So it's by field, but remember you can choose the field, and max monthly volume is what we're looking at. You could choose something else. So you could say it has to have a relevancy score of something. But this is filtering the keyword by the field max monthly volume and then apply. So that looks probably pretty similar to what I just did, but it depends on what you want to filter by. So there you go. Change it off the default color. Need to see something a little bit different. Make it a little cooler, add a border. There you go. Like I said, I don't think actually that loom isn't going to work for me, since unless I'm in that selling to a manufacturing firm. So I'm going to right click on that and click exclude. And we should be good to go. Maybe I want to compete against Levi's. Maybe I want to poach some of those customers. So I'm going to keep that there. I'm not particularly talking about dresses right now. I think I'm just in the sweater mode. So I'm going to exclude that as well. And I'm going to make this so I can see the full keyword. You can adjust these to fit width and everything like that if you want, but I want to make sure I can see the full keyword when I'm giving my presentation. Max monthly volume is an okay label, so I think we should be good to go with this graph. So the next one we're going to do is the SERP analysis. So exploring by keyword, we have a SERP analysis right here on the left. So typing in is required, you should have that already, and analyze, and clicking that link. Hopefully that doesn't use up too many of your queries. You have this where, let's first explain what SERP is. So the search engine results page, and what this is looking at, and we can click here, it says knowledge card, learn more about SERP features. So a SERP feature is something on that Google search engine results page, SERP, that is not a traditional organic result. So there's things like rich snippets. So if I look at travel to Maui, you will see different things. You have a Wikipedia module over here. You have a little popular destinations module that shows you the airfare from possibly where I'm at, which would be really cool. That's a great price from Seattle, as well as lodging prices, and some other stuff. So people also ask, is there top stories? So here are the top 3 stories. So you can see they launched for travel this week, and there's a lot of information about pre-travel testing and quarantine and avoiding quarantine with the right tests and things like that. Video module as well. So things that are not the normal search results. So here's the required sweater search. Here's an ads module that goes across different sites. So that's a little bit different than just a normal display ad. It's combining those in a shoppable format. So that Gucci sweater looks great. It's a good reminder that you cannot send gifts to your professor to influence the results of your grade before graduation. If you do have a unicorn startup that has a $1 billion exit, that that Gucci sweater, that might make a good Christmas present someday. So keep that in mind, bookmark that, and we should be pretty good to go. So the images section there, I'll show you those different sweaters. That is a very preppy sweater right there. People also ask again, kind of like the Maui one, and then it's suggesting 3 places to shop in Seattle that might have that sweater there. So Target, Nordstrom, and Macy's. Looks like H&M did not pay for some placement there. I don't know. It's in stock as well. So all these little different features have been added to over the last few years, and they're having more and more connections across their data platforms. And to be able to tell that something's in stock is pretty impressive. I worked on that early with demos for Target in 2006 and things like that, and it was incredibly difficult. And now they're just adding to these things piece by piece, and it's pretty impressive. So lots of stuff there. You can hop back to MOZ and check this SERP page out. And so it's got all of this stuff and this list with different metrics that we can talk about. So what I want to do, of course, is to export that list to CSV so we can get it to Tableau, and we will do that. So that downloaded, and I want to talk about this a little bit more. So we have, what's powerful about these platforms is their self-created metrics, since they have that third-party perspective where they're able to use their own knowledge and understanding of what's happening and try to uncover opportunities for you. So I often talk about priority and how do we create that and understand what's most impactful to the business and figure out where we should use our limited time and effort to have an impact. And they have their own version of that. So you'll notice these little eyes with the hovers so you can see a definition. So that's their way of having a data dictionary that's like right in what you are using, which is incredible. It's really helpful that you can just hover over and see. So priority, it's telling you, it includes trying to find a sweet spot of higher volume and organic click-through rate with lower difficulty. And we can learn more. So let's learn more and see what they say. You can see our mustachioed friend, Rand Fishkin, there describing this. And what I want to dial in on here is it's taking an easy way to sort keywords so the cream rises to the top. And the cream is keywords with low difficulty, high opportunity, strong volume, and high importance. So they're trying to help you find what you should look at first. So there's so many things on that list. How do we narrow it down to what's going to be impactful for us? And they are trying to help us do that with that score. So we went ahead and downloaded that Excel file. Again, since I know they're going to put some stuff in it, that was what we were working before. This one pops up. You can move this to a new file if you want. And copy that, put it here, and do that. So I'm not going to work with this one, but you definitely could do that on your own to have a nice simple graph of the organic click-through rates, which that's a percentage. So make sure you change that if you're bringing that into Tableau or something like that. So I'm going to call that SERP Metrics forward MOZ, and that could be fun to bring in as well. Right now I'm going to focus on this list, delete those rows, and call this SERP Analysis and clean. So I cleaned that up. Here's our list. It's very short. That's okay. It's not as long as our other list we had there. And we're going to go back here where we were working with this. I need to make sure I save, so that's a good reminder. And always save as that Tableau TWX file that actually stores the data in. Otherwise, it's trying to link to that external Excel file. And so we are going to do, let's just call it Jacquard. Cool. So we have this data in. We need to bring in our new one. So I'm going to go to data source, data, new data source, more, and then looks like I have that one. So that clean one I mentioned that has our different pages. So like we were looking at those different modules that we saw on the search page for the sweater and for Maui. These are the different things that are coming up here. So we want to make sure we have type came in as text, rank was a number. Let's check it out in the data here. So those, or the same thing happened to that as well. I'm not sure why, but we are going to make sure that is a number. And same with that. You could do multiple by collecting multiple with the shift key or whatever, and then doing change data type to number. And then we're going to do that again and convert to measure, and those as well. Cool. All right, so now we have our measures and the URL, the title, and the type, which is cool. So I'm going to drag type to filters. So those were the knowledge card, knowledge panel, organic, and related questions were the ones that came up for this. I want all of them, and okay. So for that, I'm actually going to right-click on type in the filter, and I want to show the filter on the page. So this is going to end up being interactive, published on Tableau public. So I want to make sure I have something users can interact with. On this filter, you can use the checkboxes like this. This is multiple, so you could do like that. And there's a lot of other options Tableau gives you here. There's single value list, so you can make it so they can only choose one with the radio button. There's single value drop down, where it's a little single at a time, or all as a drop down. There's also a slider, which is kind of weird for this one, but you could do that. Multiple values list, like we saw. Multiple drop downs. So that's where it's got a drop down, but with the checkboxes. And there's some other options as well. You can do wildcard match. I wouldn't suggest it for this, but in some cases, if it's a long list of all those keywords, then we would do that. We might try that with the other one. I'll save that for later, but we are going to do a multiple drop down. I like that because it saves some space up here, or you could choose if you want them to see the list immediately. This one's pretty good, so maybe we'll go with this. All right, so we want the title there, and we can go ahead and bring in the rank and the DA and the PA and referring domains to domain, referring domains to page. So we can talk about which ones you want to include. So the NA keyword, I'm going to go ahead and exclude that. I don't think that's relevant, but now you can see here are the titles. So the URL is probably too long to display. This is somewhat helpful. Interesting. Some art supplies on that one. I'm not sure how that came up, but cool. All right, so we're going to wrap up with the keyword analysis and the SERP. So we've got all the graphs in. So there's one more that we skipped over. We had the keyword max volume, and you could also do minimum or specific as well. The SERP analysis, and we're going to get back to this. So DA and PA were domain authority and page authority. We're going to do that when we do the competitive analysis video, and as well as you have referring from domain pages and referring domains to this page versus domain to domain. So we can talk about that in competitive analysis if you'd like, but here's a start. Obviously visualize it the way you would like to. This is just a simple table with a user selection there. We're going to do one more graph there and go back to data source, new data source. And we had the one with just the metrics, that very simple piece that we had there that we split out when MOZ had us download there, and it brought us these different dimensions and measures. It comes in like this in Tableau. It's kind of funky as well. That's actually the term, so that's not very helpful. Let's just call that measure. It would be measure values. I don't think I want to confuse me with Tableau, so I'm just going to measure number, and I'm going to call that, SERP analysis, fine. So that's good. I do notice that is a text thing, so we're going to have to fix that over here. So SERP analysis is the dimension, so that's fine as the text measure. That measure number is not a number, so let's change that to a number and also convert that to a measure. So we should be able to very simply bring in those different terms there and bring in the measure number there. You can flip those if you would like, make it fit a little bit better, however you would like to do it. But yeah, so that could be just a simple graph for your dashboard. So that it's kind of nice to have these simple ones as something you would add in just at the top of the dashboard, and then have a more visualized graph there. But these are like the key metrics that are at the top. So that's a good start. So we're going to come back and do a different video with the rest of the site competitor analysis.